Hey JJ, this is a couple of fun things you might want to try. Just with your collie stick and that. It's really cool. I mean, you can do anything, it's all fun, it's all cool. But a couple things that might kind of build upon it, it'll make your whole, well, at least for me anyways, it'll make your whole experience more kind of interesting and more expressive, is to let the stick start to move you more. And all I mean by that is you can do little shots and do different things where you're cutting different ways or tagging. This like we call retraction. And sometimes we call this a follow through. I forget the terms. One's a wah tick and one's a lob tick. I gotta mix up. But anyways, try playing around with the concept of, just for a experience, keep your elbow close to your body. Imagine it's like a belt. And then watch what it does when you see what it does to my hips. Okay? And then the other thing is not just your elbow, but your hand. Some people like to have it really close to the end. Some people like a couple fingers. I usually have about a whole fist, just my habit. But just so you can use that other end to attack with or hook limbs. There's different things. But when I'm practicing a lot of my cuts or angles on my own, and I'm not saying I do something totally different when I spar. I might just be really explosive and do different lines. But when I'm carving on my own, I often emphasize keeping this square. Okay, so I lock my wrist, with the exception of the beginning and the end. So I lock it, lock it, lock it, lock it, lock it, lock it, relax. So if I'm doing a figure eight, see my elbow here? Stuck to my body, okay? And my wrist is not moving, relaxing. So rather than just, and I will do that because it's fun and it's fast. There's a Redonda there. There's different moves where I abanico, different moves where I might go for a thrust, abanico, another thrust, and I'll flip and just do deceptive moves. But when I rep out my carving, see what happens is when I lock this, and when I lock this, it forces me to move my body. And that's one of the really cool things that the stick brings out. It brings up, so even without working the footwork yet, without even doing that, you can do that of course, but watch what it does with my shoulder. So I do this shot, see how the shoulder's forward, now I come back, see how this shoulder's forward? See, that's how much my hips are forced to move. And if I was just using my wrists, I could be out here and I could be cutting and cutting. But when I use my body, I can literally be this close. And see how close I can be? So if you go up to a wall and you try to do a figure eight, I can literally do this about 1.5 feet away or a foot, and I can still do it because I'm carving with my hips. And then you can always add reaching later, but you'll be adding it to your hips. You'll be adding it to, rather than just relying on, it's the same thing with punching, right? Everyone wants to, a lot of people will, they'll start out and they'll get close, they'll get in this trading range, and then they'll just go, boom, 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 and they just sort of, it's almost difficult for me to even do because I'm so used to it the other way, but they'll just sort of use their arms only, rather than there's the arms, boom, 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 boom. That's more like a kung fu way where they're closer. But then every shot, my hips. See, hips, 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 hips. See the hips? Well, I don't know if you can see my feet, but I'm going up on my toes. So it's the same. It's exactly the same. And for me, I got that from using those sticks, using the weapons, because it forced me to start to relax my hips, do some nice big figure eights, boom, boom. Do some upward figure eights too. This other side mimics the roof block. So if I have my things back on here again, and here, look at this. So you can see when you can carve around it. Carve, check. Carve, check. Carve, check. That's another thing you can do with a rope or a pole. You can actually carve around it. I can move around it. Just checking it, monitoring it, cutting, So I'm kind of using the stick as an extension of myself. I don't always have to flail. I can change your elevation, but I can also slice and check. Boom. Bam, bam. So those are fun. A couple things to play with. Oh, and I'll just show you a couple stick swap things too, which are really fun. The first one, that's the easiest one to do. The very first one I'd recommend is just putting your stick under your arm, simply like that. So you're here, your elbow comes out, the stick goes under the arm, the other hand grabs it, boom, you can shoot it out like that, or you can start carving angles or whatever. But once again, just go, like a lot of times I train like this fast. I really don't. There's so much to learn in this. There's so much to mine from this. It's like you're mining gold. And when it's the same with anything. If you go fast, like even weight training, like people who just go, whoa, you know, you're skipping a whole bunch of muscles because you're using momentum, right? So there's a lot, the same thing, there's a lot of little details you can figure out here. So first one is under here. You can do Redonda, if you're not familiar with Redonda, but your elbow comes out, you extend, boom. So if I bring my stick under here, boom, this is a nice transfer, boom, boom, transfer. Okay, so what's an easy transfer. Then the other one, this is another one Jamie was doing videos of not too long ago, and where all you're gonna do is you're gonna put the stick under your arm, or actually it was under the other arm, and you're just gonna take your hand and you're just gonna pass it and then switch grips. So you're gonna pass it, switch grips, pass it, switch grips. And notice how I'm always copying. I always want the weapon in my lead hand. Well, not always, but in this case I'm choosing to, because I can set up a nice shot, like a punch or a Redonda. So if I switch it to the other side, notice how this other went forward, so now the stick's here, now the shoulder's forward. So when I grab, I can reach. So if I go this side, see I'm reaching, pass it over, here, passing it over. So if I go this side, I want to switch. So you can pass it, you can keep swapping it back. You can use change your grip, so I can grab it this way, or he was even doing it this way sometimes, but I find it a little awkward for me, but I don't know. It's very similar to what you do with a long stick, where you actually flip it, and then you have this reverse grip where they flip it with a staff, but I'm just using this hand and passing it forward. Bam! So those are a couple. I mean, there's those ones like in a chucky you can do too. Back in the day we used to do those. It was more for a stretch, I think we did it. We'd pass it behind our shoulders, kind of like, almost like that stretch they do at school to like test your tricep flexibility or whatever. You kind of put this back, you go backwards, or you can go forward and then catch it in the back. It's kind of cool for a warm-up. I like doing stuff like that. I like doing twisting the wrist. You know, I like doing the holding the stick and pushing and doing the twirl. So you can learn to twirl. Twirling, bam, twirl, 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 bam, bam, boom, bam. So it's fun. Just a lot of fun stuff you can do. But anyways, have fun.